Hello everybody, this is the game analysis for round 4 of my chess tournament. I have 3 points at the minute. I'm feeling unstoppable, and this game was a nice addition to that. It had quite an instructional opening and middle game as well, so be sure to check that out. In this game, my opponent, I think they were quite a few years younger than me, and they played very well. They were quite a strong player. I wish them the best on the rest of their chess journey. I started out with the move e4, and I got e5 in response. So here was quite a big decision for me because I love the Eurosov. I think it's a great opening. I've got a video on it. It starts with bishop c4, knight f6, and then d4. But I'm not. It's still quite a new opening for me. I'm not very well versed in all of the lines. That's why I opted for knight c3. This is the Vienna. I've played it for months on end now, and I find the positions out of it quite nice. Knight f6 and f4. After f4, the only real move to keep equality for black. So, for example, if takes, then e5, the knight comes back. A line like this is very strong. Takes and then queen e2. I like this with bishop f4 being threatened, all this pressure. It's a great line, and I think this line is like +1 for white. Pretty good advantage. So the only move to kind of keep the equality is d5, so a counter strike in the center. The move for me is f takes e5, knight takes e5. I played queen f3. This isn't the most popular line, but this is it is advised by Gotham Chess. It's like his pet line in the Vienna. I find some success with it as well. Knight takes e3, b takes c3. And the normal sort of move here would be to develop the bishop to e7, to play c5 to stop d4, sort of. But here my opponent played the move d4, which I thought was very odd. I spent quite a lot of time here thinking about the implications of this move, and I realised that it opens up my queen's diagonal to this b7 pawn, and it opens up my bishop's diagonal, this diagonal here, towards the white king. I played the move bishop c4. I think this is the best move in the position, since if the queen were to try and defend this mate threat on f7, let's say queen e7, I'll just take, reinforcing. This is a great position for me. I've got like bishop a3 on the cards. Maybe not. Yeah, I think bishop a3 would work, deflecting the queen away from f7. And if queen d7 defending the f7 pawn, then I can still play this since takes. Even though white isn't getting mated here, this is definitely something that they're not wanting to go into. I have got a rook hanging here, but if it were taken, I think... Oh, no! No, it doesn't, but since my bishop is pinned, but there will be mate threats in this position. So that leaves my opponent with the only decent move here, bishop e6. But the problem with that move is that after I trade, I get to play the move queen takes b7, since this bishop no longer defends this pawn. The only move to save the rook is knight d7, so allowing the queen to defend it. But here I could just easily pick up the pawn in the centre, c takes d4, after rook b8. It should be noted that I can capture on a7, but this is way too dangerous for me. The queen can come out to a4. If I block with g3, then I find myself in a lot of trouble with this king and rook fork. So instead of being too greedy, I do retreat my queen back to e4. This is a safe square. It controls quite a lot of central squares and also stops queen h4. I am 2 pawns off. I was very happy with my position here, but I had spent quite a lot of time trying to punish d4. I think my opponent had around 10 minutes, 5 minutes advantage on me. My opponent plays c5 here. So, obviously, it wouldn't be that good of an idea to take this pawn, since the bishop can take. Black getting really good development quite quickly. I played knight f3. I'm developing. After c takes d4, this is where I spent a little bit more time as well. So if I play queen takes, then bishop c5, I don't really like this for me. I can't castle on the king side anymore. And if I should take with a knight, then I think it's the same again. I think it's the same sort of thing again. In hindsight, I think this would have been safe enough. Knight takes d4, bishop c5. I think I had a okay position here. Rather, I do actually have knight c6, I believe, here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So after c takes d4, instead of recapturing, I did in fact castle on the king side. I'm giving a pawn back and just trying to get developed, trying to get my king safe as soon as possible. Maybe try and exploit black's king in the centre. But the truth is, after bishop c5, threatening d3 and king h1, black can already castle. Black's doing quite well here. And I can't move my knight due to this pin. This pin is quite annoying. It will be quite annoying. I'll play d3 here to open up my dark squared bishop. Queen e7 and bishop g5 attacking queen f7. Again, I can't move my knight. It would be pinned to my rook, so let's say this will lead in a back rank mate here. It's just the sort of thing I've got to be careful about. I played rook ab1 here after queen s7. Yeah, I played rook ab1 here. I'm just offering a few rook trades, sort of trying to diffuse the tension. And knight b6 played by my opponent. I think this is fine, shutting down the b file. I played rook b5 here, getting my rook a little bit more active. Of course, the bishop does find itself in a little bit of trouble, trying to defend this d4 pawn, but my opponent found quite an intuitive move, that being knight a4. So rerouting the knight to defend this bishop. It looks quite a odd square this, but it is quite useful for infiltrating my queenside dark squares. I accept the rook trade and go for queen c6. After queen c6, I'm attacking this knight, and if this knight was to move, then I would win this bishop. So the only response is forced by my opponent is queen e8, often a queen trade. This is why I went for this line. I knew I was getting a queen trade. I traded the queens off, and rook b1, knight c3, rook b2, h6, bishop d2. And I must say now here that I was extremely low on time, and it did in fact stop writing down the moves. Unfortunately, I would really try not to do that again. And I've got a rough idea. There was around 20 more moves from this position that I managed to convert this endgame. I think it went something along the lines of knight d1, rook b1, knight c3, bishop takes c3, d takes c3, and after rook b3, I'm going to win this pawn. It was a very interesting game though. I think the knight might have stayed on the board actually, and got involved in some checks, but the final position, I had a rook and 2 pawns versus a king and a rook, and I managed to convert that quite nicely. Again though, I hope my opponent has a very nice journey into chess. They were quite a young player, very strong as well. I thought they played quite well. The only move I'd say that wasn't so good was the d4 move. It was just a bit questionable move in the opening. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Sorry this was such a short video, just with the me forgetting to write down the moves because I'm a bit silly. Thanks for all your support in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.